Gents, focusing on a massive game in West London. The West London derby, Fulham against Chelsea, down by the banks of the River Thames. Nick, I'm coming to you straight away, mate. Who are the favourites for this one? Because Chelsea usually are every single time. I don't know if that's the case this time.
I do think
okay.
It's hard because Fulham is overperforming. It's overproducing over what it's performing or something like that. Fulham's not where they are at on the table. And I'm not telling you they're a bad team or they're not well coached. They obviously are. But you look at the underlying numbers under their games, even against bad opposition or struggling opposition, and you say, wow, how did they get away with that? And part of that, you have to give down to moxie, right? You have to say Marco Silva's bred into this team. They know what they want. There's a lot of guys who have been there a while and can tell you, how to play and what to do. And Bernd Leno is fantastic. But at the same time, I don't remember the last time I watched a game and thought, yeah, Fulham really bossed that, right? They have players who boss their parts of the pitch in Paulinho, and they're good out wide. But, the flip side of that is going back to Graham Potter and even Frank Lampard for a little tiny while. It was, man, look at these numbers behind what Chelsea's doing. How are they not scoring? Surely they're going to score again soon, to the extent that when I made my prediction this week, I said they should win probably by 2 or 3 goals. And I don't know if I will pick them to get a point.
Yeah, it's true, right, Andy? I mean, it's a weird game to kind of preview because on paper, like Nick said, Chelsea have been performing well, but we know they're not picking up wins or scoring goals. So it's a big problem for Pochettino. But when we look at Fulham, they've been solid, not spectacular. Obviously drew 0-0 against Crystal Palace last time out in the league. Did we kind of expect this after losing Mitrovic, the way they lost him, kind of half replaced him with Jimenez and others, but it's been a bit of a weird start to the season for Fulham, right? I mean, Marco Silva, again, was linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, didn't go, was kind of making noises that we want to bring in more players, and then nearly lost Paulinho right at the end of the summer transfer window to Bayern as well. So they're in that kind of weird state where they had a great first season back in the Premier League and almost being punished for that by some of their better players being picked up, and then the expectation levels rising again. Because like Nick mentioned before, It seems like we talk about this with Fulham all the time. They are over-exceeding every single kind of stat level that you look at. And they're a difficult team to figure out because they're always picking up points, but we don't quite know how they're doing it.
Hasn't this always been what Marco Silva's teams are, though, in the Premier League?
Yeah. Watford especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why he got the big move with the slightly controversial move in the end to Everton. It didn't quite fully work out there, but there were some positive times when he was there, and he made them very machine-like. To Nick's point, they're not going to overly impress you, but they're going to grind out results, and they're a difficult team to beat. And I think for any team that comes up from the Championship, being promoted last season, the way that they finished mid-table, that's what you have to do. And so at some point, I think you have to decide, is that enough? Is that going to be sustainable for a long stay in the Premier League? But I think right now, especially given the departure of Mitrovic in the summer, it's what you have to do at this point. And you have to just survive almost transfer window to transfer window, not even season to season at this point. And so the fact that they've gotten off to another similar start to what they did last season, it's obviously promising times for them. And they will give Chelsea trouble, by the way, in this game, because we talked about Tottenham this week a lot already. The confidence that they have, it's the complete opposite for Chelsea. And that's a team that everybody's going into a matchup with them and saying, all right, this is not the best version of Chelsea. This is not the best version they'll be at some point this season. We can, and we should. I think they will probably think we should get something out of this game given the state of Chelsea at the moment.
Nick, we know Pochettino, there was some pretty interesting quotes about lemons on his table at the training ground recently, and kind of bad vibes, I guess, around Chelsea. When you look at how they're actually playing in games, watch the Villa game back, and not quite sure how they actually lost that one. They're coming up against goalkeepers who are in great form, getting players sent off, injuries, lack of confidence in front of goal. I mean, is he under pressure this early at Chelsea, or is that just ridiculous at this point to say?
It should be ridiculous. I don't don't think anyone knows the ownership group well enough to really know where they're at. And even cast under the shadow of what the previous ownership group was like with managers. I don't think he should be. I honestly think the numbers that these are real good numbers. Nicholas Jackson is second in the Premier League in expected goals. He's scored 1. I mean, second in the league. They have 3 players in the top 25 in expected assists. Guys that you might think, how is he choosing them? Because I mean, I did a deep dive into this after the Chelsea game. Does he keep choosing Mudryk? Well, he's averaging 2.62 key passes per 90 minutes. Chilwell, Enzo, Raheem Sterling, they're all up there. It's all there for them. And that's why the Nkunku point keeps being brought up. But at the same time, these are elite professional footballers. Kicking a ball into a goal should happen more often than it is. And so he shouldn't be under duress. The issue, I think, top to bottom in the organization, because this isn't a shot at anything anybody could do. How do you find that button to make these guys feel good? Because the talent is there. The performances are largely there. That was a good Villa team that they largely shut down until they went to 10 men. They should be feeling good. The expected points said they should be top 4 right now. So it is an attitude thing. And I really think this should be the week they break through, and yet I'm hesitating to pick them.
And Andy's mentioned it on previous shows. I mean, Pochettino, when he came in at Southampton, the team I support, and then Tottenham, the team Andy supports, it was very robotic in the way that he sets up. There was a lot of draws, a lot of dour, kind of maybe wins 1-0, 2-1 here and there. It wasn't exciting, right, Andy? But this is kind of part of the Pochettino project. He gets players to really buy into the system, not make big mistakes, and then eventually he will build in creativity and get players in the right area in the final third. So I'm with Nick. I kind of feel like eventually it will turn around, but these injuries, I mean, the injury list is pretty ridiculous as well, right? We can't overlook that.
Yeah, it's until it happens, I'm going to continue to predict Chelsea get a win and they start to turn things around, because Nick stated it absolutely perfectly there. Everything is in their favor except for the outcome, the result. And I think to answer Nick's question, what has to happen? I think they just have to win a game. I think they just have to. Yeah. The ball goes in the back of the net 2 or 3 times when it maybe shouldn't in a game, and that takes the weight of the pressure and the eyes off of them just a little bit and allows them to play a little bit more freely. It probably allows the manager to feel a little bit more free during the week as well. So I'll say they get it in this week in a 2-1 win.
Nick?
Yeah, but I'll say 2-0. They're defending like angry people. Levi Colwell's really impressed me, and I understand the arguments from this summer. So I'll say 2-0.
Yeah, Colwell, Southampton lad, grew up watching Pochettino's teams at Saints, and long connection there between those guys. I'm going to go 1-1. I think Fulham are a really horrible team to play against, and I don't know if I can see the likes of Sterling and Jackson and Mudryk and others up there all of a sudden just finding their scoring boots. So I think I'm going to go 1-1 and a bit more misery for Pochettino before it gets better. But I do think it will get better when the injured players come back. And like Andy mentioned, a shot goes in off someone's backside. They get a lucky deflected goal, penalty kick, whatever. And then things will turn around pretty quickly for them. I'm really, really sure of that. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com ahead of the West London derby, Fulham against Chelsea. We'll have all the how to watch info, preview, team news updates, video highlights, and much more. It's going to be a good one down by the banks of the River Thames. Let's see if Chelsea can get the big win they need. But Fulham, they are a very, very tough team to play against. It won't be an easy one for the Blues.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.